So I've decided this week we're just taking care of a lot of things on my fire wizard, and the next thing on the agenda is my pet. I decided to head into one of the few houses that I even have on my fire wizard, and that's the firehouse. I also have a red barn farm, which I never really used for much, but I did decorate this room. If you guys remember a while back when they released the new school furniture, I decorated this house with it and kind of showed it off, and it looks really nice. I came back in this room for the first time in a long time, and I was like, wow, this place looks pretty nice. So I threw a music scroll on, and it's a nice little house, even though I don't have the rest of it decorated, just this room, but still looks good. But we are going to be talking about my fire wizard's pet. Now, I'm saying it's not the official pet yet because I'm not sure if I'm going to be changing it at some point in the future, but for now this pet is really good. It's what I wanted, and it just kind of depends if I want to kind of change up how I do my playstyle on fire, if I want more crit or something like that. But here we go. Smokey, I'm sorry, but your time is up. You have helped me all the way from Wizard City until now. So, I mean, Smokey's been a great pet. He has, and I'll still keep him around in case I need him, but he's got the fairy, so I don't think we're going to be needing that anymore. But overall, he had good stats, plenty of damage, and then the fairy spell. So, you will see that the new one is similar to this. It's only, I mean, it's really minor difference in the talents, but it's also on a different pet. So here we go, the new pet that will be replacing Smokey. I'm sorry, Smokey, you'll still be in my backpack, you know. I might use you, but it's going to be the Mega Armored Skeleton Chase. I don't know if I'm going to keep the name Chase. That's kind of the default name. We'll see. But it is going to be an armored skeleton. And the reason I chose this was because I never even knew about this pet a few months back when I made that first video on it. And I was like, you know, this would be a really unique pet to have. So for now, I'm going with armored skeleton. I know it's not really like a fire pet, but it doesn't need to be a fire pet. That's not really the point of it. It's the point of, is a nice looking pet. It's a unique pet, and I feel like it's just something that I want to have with some nice stats. So my friend Scarlett helped me. Thank you to her for getting this pet set up and helping me to be able to get it. So armored skeleton, it gives that 1% stat of the power pip chance, which is nice. And then we also have the damages there with the proof and defy. Also, something to note, this is the first pet that I've ever had that has 10% on the fire dealer, or just dealer in general. I never have had a pet that had as good of stats as this that could get fire dealer 10 or any other kind of dealer 10. On my storm, I think it's 9% dealer, so I've never had a pet with this good of stats. So thank you to Scarlett for helping me to get this. And then I also threw on the fire boon for extra damage as the jewel. If I had to change one thing, maybe I would transfer out defy for something else. I don't know. There's not really too much in the way of damage that you could get at this point. I mean, there are like small damage talents, but defy is still really good. A critical, I don't know if I'm going to need critical. I can always make up for critical with different pieces of gear. I haven't even looked at fire critical gear yet, so I feel like this pet's just going to be really good. I mean, it's got a ton of resist and then also a ton of damage, so that seems pretty good for me with PvE, which is the main thing I'll be going for on this character. So, and that's the mostly like the main thing that I gear my characters for anyway, is PvE. But there we go. That is the damage. I think it's only a 1% increase in damage because we have the 10% dealer compared to Smokey. The resist is something that is going to be really helpful later on. My storm doesn't really go for resist. If you've seen my storm's pet, it's basically just all damage and all critical. But that's just kind of how I play storm. I'll probably play fire a little differently, and that involves using a pet like this. But what is my power pip at with the 1%? 87%. I can probably get more power pip just from better gear overall. Like, how much does the thing give? It's 70%. I feel like there's better pieces of gear like this. Maybe the boots will give more, and the hat doesn't even give any. I mean, this is kind of like a critical hat in a way, but that doesn't even give any power pip. But the boots could definitely get more. So once I get better pieces of gear, we'll probably have more power pip. to get up to 100%. But this is just a good baseline pet for any kind of gear set that I'll be going for on my fire. So it's gonna be really exciting. I'm glad that we got this. You know, Chase isn't a bad name. I don't know if we want to change that. I don't mind Chase, but we could look and just see if there's any other name that I want to pick. Maybe I'll go look at it at the end of this video. But yeah, there's the pet. Just a really unique pet that I wanted. I could have gone for a pet that had, you know, a useful card that it gave or something like that, like a fennec fox or something. But I wanted something different, and I don't really need any kind of like blade from a pet. I mean, it could be helpful, but I've got the blades from the Morganth amulet, and I'll have, I mean, usually I only would need a blade like that if I was soloing, but I'll be questing with other people, and then I also have the TC blades, which is also good. So it's just like an extra blade, which I don't really care too much about. But I mean, think about it. My pet on my storm, Sparky, the polar fox, that gives a 20% balance blade, or not a balance blade, blade storm, which I never use that either. So it doesn't really matter. I mean, some people go for pets that have good cards because they'll actually use them, but a lot of my pets, I don't really go too much for that. I'm more concerned with like the look. I don't want to use a pet that I don't like the look of just for a card. You know, I wouldn't really do that. But there you go. So we're gonna leave the fire room behind, even though it looks really nice, and we're gonna head out to the commons. Well, to the dye shop. We're gonna see if we can rename this in any way. I don't have a mount on right now. Let's go ahead and put on the unicorn. Let's see if there's anything that kind of sticks out to me as a name that I want to use for this pet, because the name is really important. I don't just want to go with like the default name. Let's see, rename. Okay, we're gonna go random a little bit and just see what our choices are here. Okay, Whiskers, not really too close. Winston doesn't really make sense. Oliver, no. Moose. Jack, I mean, because he's a skeleton, yes, but is that really what I want his name to be? I already have, well, I need the pumpkin pet Jack, which makes sense. Like, that makes more sense than my skeleton, to me at least. Okay, I've gone through the list a little bit, and I feel like the name that sticks out the most is probably going to be, if I can find it, I'm thinking Spike. I mean, I know Spike would be good on a pet that was maybe like a dinosaur or something, but I don't know. For me, I feel like Spike kind of makes sense because he has, okay, here, he has like a spike on his helmet. There you go. That now it even makes more sense to me. Spike, the armored skeleton, I like it. That actually works out really well. So there we have it. That is going to be the pet that I use for a while on my fire. The only reason I would change it is if I wanted a damage and critical pet, kind of like my storm has, but it's nice to have proof in there too. So even if I had proof, I would probably have to get rid of probably defy, and maybe instead of fire boon I would put on another critical. But do I really need that much critical? It really depends. Like this pet for now, perfectly fine. So this is gonna be the official pet for right now, and probably for a while, because I feel like this pet, just baseline stats, is really good. Alright, so that is going to do it for the pet. Let's go ahead and show it at the end here. But I'm happy with it. It's going to be good, and it'll probably be something that you'll see on this character for a while now. So that'll be it. But we're just taking care of things on my fire wizard right now. One of them was the pet. I've been working on that pet for about a month or a little more than that. So it's good to have finally completed it, and thanks again to Scarlett for her help on that. But like I said in my previous video yesterday, I will be streaming soon, so go check out that if you want to join the stream. We'll be using this pet, and we'll be going for some new gear on my fire, because now that we got the pet, we also need to get the better gear, because I haven't really come to the full realization that my fire is almost 110 at this point, and then soon, once we get through Polaris and Mirage, 120. So almost max fire. Like, that's crazy, because Mirage, it'll take us a little bit. We might even wait between Polaris to start Mirage again, because we've already done 2 Mirage walkthroughs. Well, I have. I think Blue basically has. So it's kind of a lot, but we will get there eventually. And we don't want to go like rush too like hard into Mirage again and do another walkthrough, but it'll be there eventually this year. So thank you guys for watching. Leave a like for the new pet, and I'm excited for Spike. He's gonna be good. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you all next time.